Good morning, everybody. Today we're going to start a new venture called Piles of Blessings in the Kitchen. And we are going to start off with making hamburger rolls. So come on over and I'll show you what we need to get started. We're going to start off with 1 cup of very warm water, 1/4 cup of sugar, 1 tablespoon of instant dry yeast or rapid rise yeast, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 egg, and 3 tablespoons of butter. And we're going to go on over to the mixer and get them all started. Now I'm using a mixer here, but you can mix it by hand, but it is just a lot easier if you use the mixer. You wouldn't want to use a hand mixer. That wouldn't work, but this one here, it was really good. And we just get those first ingredients starting to mix up and incorporate, and then we're going to add our flour. We're going to start off with adding 3 cups of flour. I stopped the machine because I knew I was going to make a mess if I didn't with the thing running. Not too bad. And then I mix it up. And I decided to mix it up for about 2 or 3 minutes just to get it all well incorporated. Now, after about 2 minutes, this is what I had. Now, this is what you want. You see how the sides are all nice and clean of the bowl? That's what you want. But it's still a little sticky, so I'm going to add another 1/2 cup of flour. And that should do it. I'm going to let it mix up some more. For another couple of minutes. There we go. See how it's not sticking to the sides of the bowl there? That's what you want. You want it to be nice and soft and not sticking to the bowl. So I'm going to move it up to a kneading position, which is number 3 on the machine. And I'm going to let it knead for about 3 or 4 minutes. Now, if you don't have a machine and you want to do it by hand, you can do that. You just roll it, push it, and roll it back. Push it and roll it back on a floured surface. And you might have to do that for about 5 minutes, but it'll work. This just makes it so much easier. You know, Mother's Day is coming up, and if you haven't got a clue what you want, you might want to ask for a stand mixer because it really does make your baking so much easier. So I'm going to let this go for another couple of minutes, and then I'll be right back. Okay, guys, I want to show you what the dough looks like. Okay, when you take it out like that, look how nice and soft the dough is. And it's almost like an elastic. See how it holds its form when you pinch it like that? That's what you want. If you're working it by hand, this is what you want to get it to when you're finished kneading it, okay? Then we're going to use the bowl again, so we spray it with nonstick spray. And we're going to pinch and roll the dough. We're going to make a ball out of it. Just roll it and pinch it until it makes a nice smooth ball. Pinch the bottom. And then we're going to roll it around in the bowl. Try to get as much nonstick spray on it as you can. You can even spray some more on top. It's not going to hurt it. And you just roll it around. And that just helps it to rise nicely. Take a clean towel and put it on top. And we're going to let it rise for 1 hour. I put it on the top of my stove. That's the warm spot in my kitchen. And after an hour, ta-da, look what we have. It's risen so nicely. And guys, this smells wonderful. So we're going to deflate it. We just press gently with our fingers. Press gently on it. You don't have to pound it or punch it. You can just press nicely. And then we're going to easily pull it away from the sides of the bowl. If it sticks a little bit, that's okay. That's all right. It'll be all right. We're just going to deflate it as much as you can. And oh, this smells so good. So now I choose to use my cutting board there. I just have an extra cutting board that I use and my pastry cutter. We are going to cut the dough into 12 equal pieces. So we're going to just start cutting it in half. Cut it in half. This way you can use a knife if you don't have a pastry cutter, no problem. And I'm just going to take and plop that in the bowl for a little bit while we're working on this half. So we're going to make this into 6 pieces. So we shape it a little bit. And we cut that in half. Then each half we're going to cut into thirds. If they're not exactly even, that's okay. It doesn't really matter, because we're going to end up reshaping them a couple of times, so it's fine. Cut those into 3. And we're going to do the same thing with the other half. So we end up with 12 pieces. I just used my broiler pan and I put a piece of parchment paper on top and got some non-stick spray just so the rolls won't stick. We'll just spray it down. Now we're going to make individual rolls. Now we're going to use our cutting board. That's one of the reasons that I use the cutting board. And we're going to roll it around on it with our hand and press down as you roll. What you're trying to do is get rid of any air bubbles that might be inside the dough, because the air bubbles will cause you to have holes in your bread or in your dough, and you don't want to have that happen. So you just try to kind of press them all out of there and make a circle out of it. We're still going to do something more with it a little later on, but just make some circles. So press and roll, press and roll. Okay? And we do all 12. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to do what we did earlier with the big dough ball. We are going to just pull it around, pull the sides around, and make a nice smooth circle. Okay? And then you're going to take your hand and smash it. Okay? Because we want them to be flat instead of like dinner rolls. Okay? So we're going to pull it around, make a nice smooth circle, as smooth as you can. It doesn't really matter. And then smash it. Pull it around, and smash. This just makes them look uniform, and it makes them hold their shape really well as hamburger rolls. I hope you know that I'm not that fast. The power of video. Okay, got them all done. Now in this next step, I pulled a boo-boo. You melt a half a stick of butter, and you're going to be putting them on your buns. But you are not supposed to put them on now. Don't put the butter on now. I don't know what I was thinking. I got ahead of myself. And you're supposed to put the butter on after the buns rise for the second time. So, oh well. But that's okay. It doesn't hurt anything. You can mess up and it still will be fine. It will be fine. So I cover it with plastic wrap and a towel. See what they look like there. And they're getting ready to change immensely after 1 hour of rising again. Boom. Look at. They're wonderful. So after realizing what I did, I went ahead and put some more butter on. Might as well. Now, you have to be very careful when you're putting it on after they rise, though, because see how fluffy they are? You don't want to deflate them because then they'd have to rise again. So you just be really careful and put the butter on. Now we've preheated our oven to 350, and we're going to put it in for 15 to 18 minutes. And then after that, look what we've got. Now you might be wondering, how do you know when they're done on the inside? Well, this is what you do. You want to tap on them, and you'll hear like a hollow sound. Now these are kind of hard too, so you'll know that way too. It'll just have a really hard sound to it. And then you take the rest of your butter, and it is not overkill. It really is for a purpose. You put butter on all of them again, and that will help them to remain soft. And it really does, because once they cool down, they will still stay soft if you keep the butter on it like that. So nice. Guys, the kitchen smells so wonderful. There's nothing like the smell of fresh yeast bread made. I'm going to finish putting all the butter on, and then in a few minutes after this, we're going to be cutting one of them open once they've cooled. Here we go. To see what they look like on the inside. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? No holes at all. Perfect. Well, I hope you guys decide to try this. And if you do, leave me a comment and let me know how it turned out. And if you have any questions, leave some comments too, and I'll try to get back with you and see if I can help you answer any of the questions you might have. So I hope you all have a very blessed day.